Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by Next Gen Purpose, hosted by me, Justine Reichman. Every Tuesday, we serve up thoughtful conversations with founders, sustainability leaders, and community organizers who share their stories and missions within the regenerative food sphere. It's all about boosting forward-thinking folks and brands working to make better for you and better for the planet food more accessible. Good afternoon and welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine Reichman. With me today is Mike and Nick, co-founders of Blobs. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks for having us, Justine.
Thank you, Justine. Happy to be here.
I'm so pleased to have you here. It was kind of a fun get to know you right before we hopped on, talking all about the Northeast Corridor, and you guys are making me nostalgic for New York, and I say Philadelphia, but I did have good memories there with family and friends, so it's fun. So Nick, Mike, tell us first, what are your respective roles in this company?
Yeah, so I mean, Nick likes to give this spiel a lot, but we come from sort of complementary backgrounds. Or Nick's background is in sort of the finance world and with companies and of that nature and growing through acquisitions and sales. And my background's in more of the organic growth marketing side and growth strategy side. So that's how we, on a high level, lay it out. But on a day to day, I would say we find ourselves running around and both doing a whole lot of everything.
In full transparency, the reason I really wanted to do that was so that when we get going and we have these conversations, people understand the lens you're looking through, right? So, I think that when you have a financial background or lens that you're looking at things, you have a different perspective than somebody that has a little bit of a marketing background, right? So it's going to be interesting to hear both your perspectives, what it's like to work together, and learn first and foremost, what is Blobs?
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, maybe we can have a little show and tell. I think I see it in your background.
Oh yeah, and I mean you'll see it all over.
Oh, there we go. Okay, Blobs.
I live among blobs. So yeah, I mean Blobs at its core, it's a better for you candy brand, and we came up with the name Blobs to really encompass that we're trying to be that accessible candy for everyone. And I would say the biggest focus for Blobs for us has been not being a health food company that makes candy, but first and foremost being a candy company that makes great candy that happens to be better for you, right? And that's sort of how Blobs as a concept was born from a brand perspective.
Okay, I appreciate that. And now I really want to try Blobs. I got to try them. Got to get me some Blobs.
We'll definitely ship you out some ASAP after this.
Awesome. I appreciate that. In the meantime, so you guys founded this company together, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So can you Nick, share the inspiration for how you guys came up with Blobs?
Yeah, so it's at the time I was working on M&A on a couple different consumer brands. And my fiance, I'm a biochemical engineer by background, by education. So my fiance loves to eat Sour Patch Kids, loves to eat all kinds of candy. We had it all around the house. But every time she ate them, she felt so guilty. I don't know about you, but basically she would eat a bunch of candy and say, oh, why did I do that? Why did I eat all this candy?
Well, just like her, I would say, not just like her, but similar to her. It's not that I said, why should I eat it? I just didn't feel well after I ate it. I was like nauseous. So I mean,
yeah, and I was pre-diabetic at the time, and I had I still have a gluten issue where I can't really digest it. So she asked me to look into alternatives. We looked into alternatives on the market in the better for you candy space. We couldn't find anything that actually we liked the taste or texture. So I realized I could kind of I realized it was a white space opportunity to create something in this market and really chase after it. And it turns out I knew the best marketer in the world as one of my best friends.
Dare I guess, Mike?
We've known each other for 16 years. We knew we wanted to do something together. So I think I called Mike and I invited him over. I was like, hey, man, you want some pizza and some beer, sit on the couch? And I opened up the presentation and went through kind of, my analysis, what I thought it was, and kind of like, where do we take it from here? And that day Blobs was born. I think a week later, Blobs was born. Mike was all in.
Mike, so what was your initial thought when you saw this?
So Nick, I mean, Nick, if there's anything Nick knows how to do, it's put together a business plan. When I first saw the business plan, I loved it. It made complete sense to me. I've worked in growth marketing. I've looked at a million things like this before. So it kind of seemed like it was a perfect sort of market opportunity. My first thought was, okay, like let's look at what's on the market. And even before taste testing every single thing on the market, which we've done, including unhealthy candy as well. I realized that none of the better for you brands like sparked joy in me. Like when I saw them, they all felt a little bit utilitarian or compared to or healthier versions or better for you versions of other candy. So my first thought was, wow, like this is an opportunity to just do something really fun and like be someone that like our market positioning could be to be fun. And like that's amazing from a marketing perspective. I was super excited.
So in terms of the, building a healthier for you candy, if you will, how did that resonate with you? It wasn't your need, but
it's probably a need of mine. I was eating a whole yeah, I mean, I've been obsessed with gummy candies like as long as I can remember. It's always been my favorite candy, and so I did eat a lot of unhealthy candy. So I on a personal level, I understood that.
So every time I made a batch, it was with Mike in mind, and it was like, well, Mike loved this candy because he's our target consumer. Mike and my fiance, we have a couple of friends that eat candy nonstop. They're our target consumers, but they like this product.
Well, it's like the old campaign. Mikey likes it. Are you guys too young for that? Are you guys too young for that ad?
No, that's Kicks, right?
No, Mikey likes it was
Life?
the cereal, the Life cereal.
Life
Oh,
cereal.
yeah.
Life cereal.
Mikey
likes it. So you guys could do, Mikey likes it. Okay, so just walk, and this is great because I love gummies. I love Sour Patch Kids, but I also have a gluten intolerance. I have a problem with sugar too, though. Like I don't know why it doesn't sit well with me. So tell me, what are in these products? Because you had your fiance in mind, obviously. You were pre-diabetic. So when you went to go build out this brand and create this product, what were you trying to, what were the ingredients you went to look for at first?
Yeah, so first we kind of went with an agar-agar based product and used allulose and monk fruit. And then, we didn't really use organic ingredients at the beginning. We were just trying to get a product that me and Mike could eat and know how to cook it correctly. Ended up being really, really delicious. Then we made the switch to an organic product using a pectin-based because we want to be vegan. We wanted to make sure we had all these brand attributes while still tasting great. And be, really clean, hyper focused on clean. It did not taste good. It took a while for us to get the product to taste good because as people probably don't know, allulose is hydrophobic. So the cooking process just became a mess to try to get something to actually work and get things to stick together. But we end up, what we thought would take us 2 months took us, I think, 9 months. Yeah. And Blobs is finally done.
Yeah, and the big thing for us was we came in and we said two things like need to be true. This has to be really fun, and this has to be we have to test better than anything else in the market that we're competing with. So that led to a very long road of getting things done.
We probably had a minimum viable product about 3 months in, and then spent another 6 months just making sure we had the best taste possible.
Wow. So since this is your first time starting your own CPG product, is that right for both of you? I mean, yes, you've done acquisitions and yes, you've done marketing and taken people, but in terms of creating a product from beginning to end, this is the first time you guys are doing this, right?
Yep.
So what were some of the biggest challenges that maybe you didn't even think about when it first started?
Oof. Well, when we first started, the biggest challenge was that we really didn't know anything. It was a whole lot of cold calling. It was a whole lot of reaching out to our network to find advisors to help us guide us through the process, and it was very unstructured, especially very early on. So that was new for me. I've worked in small startups, but I've never had no idea what I was doing.
I would say the biggest challenge too was you're doing 1,000 things in the beginning all at once. You only move from 1 inch. You're a larger company, you do 1,000 things, you're moving a mile. When you're in a
Right.
startup, you do 1,000 things and moving inches at a time.
Did you find that was that discouraging, or was that just part of the process that you
Just
sort of got to understand and were
just have to take a step back and realize, look, in 3 months from now, this is where we'll be. In 5 years, this is where we'll be, and just stick with the plan. And to date, we've had, a lot of things go wrong in life. To date, I keep telling Mike, I'm surprised nothing's gone wrong yet. We haven't hit like any big major flaw yet.
well,
Yeah.
but flaws, aren't they part of the whole process anyway? Like even if you came up with a flavor and then you decide you didn't like it, so you pivot, you change, and it's actually many times I've seen that these changes they grow from information that we gain from our consumers, from people in the industry. And so as much as it might have not been the right choice, it helped us get to the right choice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's what I was going to say, like, we've learned a ton. And that's what made the beginning interesting. It was fun. We were creating a candy company and we were learning. It's like, there's not like, as frustrating as some things were, or anxiety inducing as the unknown was, it was fun. It was always fun.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to
And
say, number one rule was if we're not having fun, we need to stop doing it.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. We spend so much time working that if you're not having a good time or you don't feel good about what you're doing, you should really, in my opinion, move on.
Yep.
Move on. I mean, there's always something to do, but and work is hard. Work can be hard, and it's not always going to be 100% fun. But if when the fun outweighs the other, it becomes a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've definitely gone through, I mean, there's pinch points, right? Where it's like leading up to our launch, like, oh my God, there's a million things to do. It's all really stressful. And that, but then the minute we see our first sale, it's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So like, the fun has definitely been outweighing any of the other parts.
Where did you guys first kick off your sales?
So so this is funny. So we originally were just trying to get to market originally, and we were launching online, doing direct to consumer, but we quickly pivoted our focus after launch to focusing on retail. So we're in, I think the number of stores now is about 40 stores in mostly the Philadelphia, New York market, and also Jersey Shore. So what we were talking about pre podcast, but so we've really been using this time to learn, like, where are we getting good sales, what sort of promo or sampling events, or like what does well for us, what areas. So that was probably the biggest pivot we've made, was quickly pivoting to the retail.
Yeah. And just really learning what our customers like about our brand, what they like about our product, and where we can improve.
So when you think about your product, what other products do you see in the space that maybe compete with it, or are a product, or is a product that somebody might go look for and then they would find yours?
Yeah, so the 800-pound gorilla in the space is Smart Sweets. They launched in 2016, and they've grown, to be a massive company over the last couple of years, I think, especially during the pandemic. So where we see ourselves placing shelves is mostly next to them, and kind of like an alternative to Smart Sweets, where they focus more on traditional candy, replicas, I would say. They have the Swedish fish, their low sugar Swedish fishes. We're kind of this net new candy. Blobs aren't, trying to imitate any other candy. We're just a new candy on the market, trying to launch with interesting flavors, interesting shapes. And that's the fun thing about candy, right? You can kind of play with the shapes, format, textures, the coatings you use. You can have a lot of fun creating these products.
And so can you describe for me what the texture and the feel is of the blob?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we tried, I mean, it's very hard to get, like, say, call it the traditional Haribo texture, with something that's vegan and low sugar, because
is it kosher too?
Yeah, I mean, it's vegan. We're not certified kosher,
right.
But so I won't make any claims. But like, we are, it is vegan. We don't use any animal parts or anything like that. But the texture, I mean, we try to get as close to that as possible. We did a ton of testing with people around the texture. We did surveys, we did focus groups, and I would say it's pretty similar to a traditional gummy texture, a little less sticky in your teeth, which is something
that's
that
good. Won't take out the cavities.
Yeah.
There's no tooth stick, which I really like about it, because that was the feedback we got on our competitors and other brands and what people didn't like about gummies as a whole. So that was something we really aimed for.
So I want to go back to the beginning for a minute. So you started this company. Are you guys self-funded, or did you have to go fundraise, or what was the process like in the beginning? Because launching a CPG company is expensive. And I'm sure that our listeners and the people watching today are like, okay, so tell us how you got going. How'd you get it off the ground?
Yeah, so funny story about this. So I took the same deck I gave to Mike, and I went to my boss and told him what I wanted to do. And he wrote us that first check, $5,000 check to go out and get started and buy materials and really get going. And I talked to him actually a couple weeks ago, and he was like, Nick, I had no idea this is what you're gonna do with it.
So we raised essentially like a quick friends and family round to get us off the ground. We wanted to raise the least amount of money we thought we could to get from 0 to 0.1.
Right.
And that's how this was pre-brand. It was pre-product. So this was all people that had faith in us as individuals to get over the finish line, just to create a product and a brand.
Yeah, we really only had a business plan at that point and a couple gummies we cooked on a stove.
So who's the chef? Or who's
Mike ate a lot of bad gummies for a while.
I think chef is a generous term for either of us.
Okay, that's why I said I rephrased it and said cook, in all fairness. So now you've moved along. I'm sure you're out of the kitchen now, right? I mean, out of your kitchen in your house. Let me clarify. So where'd you guys go to do this now?
So we have a third-party manufacturer that we have a good relationship with. We actually are personally on their board now, and they're handling all of our manufacturing for us at this point.
That's great. Was that a challenge for you to find initially, or?
So we started with a qualified list of like what we need, all the qualifications. We found one third-party manufacturer.
Okay.
In the entire world. I mean, this is calling 20 manufacturers a week. We found one.
Wow.
Yeah, well, and it was for specifically what we wanted to do. Like, there's obviously other people out there that can do similar things, but for the specifications that we came with in the beginning, we really we really just happened to find like one partner that we really aligned with, and it worked out very well for us.
That's great. So let's talk about going forward. How many different SKUs do you have right now?
So we have 3 SKUs right now.
That's what I think I see behind you, but I just wanted to double check.
We actually, we do have a variety pack.
That's pink.
Yeah, so this is our brand color.
Pomegranate. Oh, the variety pack.
Yeah, it's the variety pack. So we have
orange pomegranate. Oh, I love passion fruit. So how much sugar is in them? So
one bag of Blobs only has 2 grams of sugar. So a 50-gram bag has 2 grams of sugar in it. It's all, we use natural ingredients as well. So there's no sugar alcohols. There's no stevia in it or anything like that. So that was a big thing for us, was getting the sweetness level right with that little amount of sugar. What about the juice or the fruits that you're using in there? Yeah, so the juices the fruits that we're using a lot of flavor extracts as opposed to just like full juice in there, which cuts down the sugar in the product. Actually comes from the tapioca that we use for the texture, and the base. Wow. Okay. So now building out this company, Nick, I'm going to ask you this, because building out something that's organic and vegan and traditionally can be very expensive and can make the price point high, correct? So you built out your plan with your financials. How did you work with that? And what are you on target for what you had planned?
We're actually much better off than I thought we would be in terms of margins. Price point is, respective to the market, we're a little bit more expensive than we want to be at this point, but we see a lot of levers in the future to kind of reduce that price point. And that's our goal, right? As we grow, get economies of scale, get more contracts, we can get there. but I see a great path kind of forward.
That's great. And so within this plan that you guys created, are we going to be seeing some more SKUs coming up?
Yeah, so we got something coming out this year that I think will disrupt the candy market. Mike, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's seriously the best thing I've
such a
ever
way
tasted.
where such a
Okay,
way.
when is it coming out?
We have it's just sour blobs coming out.
Like Sour Patch Kids, but the healthy version.
Yeah, they're somewhat similar.
Yeah.
It's definitely in that product category. They are really, really good. We've had unbelievable response to the taste testing we've done. We're really excited. So they'll be coming out Q4 at some
Okay.
point. It's not locked in yet.
Q4, that's coming up.
Oh yeah, I know. I was looking up
TikTok.
looking at the date there on at the top of the screen while I was saying that. But yeah, we're really excited about those.
Okay, I can't wait to taste those. I love the sweet, and the sour together. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we'll get you some of the first batches.
Okay, can't wait. So here's a question for you, because I know what Nick would say about you, because I heard him say it, best marketer ever. But I'm wondering, Nick, if you could guess, what do you think Mark would say about you and working with you as being his co-founder?
Oh, you want me to answer that or Mike?
Yeah. And then we'll find out what he'd say. But yeah, I'm just curious what you'd say.
I think he would say I'm constantly on. I'm up at 6 a.m. working and managing everything until midnight every day. I think and definitely always forward thinking. I think I'm always constantly throwing way too many ideas out there.
So you think that's what he would say about you?
Yeah, I would say
was he right? Was he right?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, if I were to describe Nick, I mean, he is always on. He's always working, and he's always thinking 10 steps ahead. So it's like that's our jobs. Nick pulls me 10 steps ahead, and I keep Nick grounded sometimes.
Sounds like a good match.
Yeah, it's been really great working with him. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mike said, we're pretty complementary. I do kind of, a product strategy and finance strategy, and then Mike does the marketing. So I'm always thinking of strategy and operations, whereas he's marketing and sales. And it's a nice match because marketing and sales is what you do today, and I'm thinking about tomorrow.
But there is another dynamic. You were first friends for 16 years. So, obviously, I mean, we can hope that you're always going to agree, but you're also not going to always want to agree because you want to share different perspectives. What is that like, being friends and co-founders?
Oh, we never agree. We never agree, but we've known each other for so long. We know when the other, we trust each other's, right? We value each other's opinions to the point where we know, okay, Mike's the expert here. He takes lead here. I'm the expert here. I take lead here. And a lot of times we know how to discuss, we know how to have a good argument, right, Mike? We've been doing it our entire lives.
Yeah, that's the Philly in us, I guess.
And how does this work now that you're in Philly and he's in New York?
I mean, I think it works great. It gives us access to both markets when we need to have boots on the ground and do a sampling event or walk to a store and say, hey, want to buy this? That works great. And we're constantly texting, Slacking, calling, Zooming multiple times all day. So it's worked pretty good. Yeah. And yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, Nick put it well when he said we disagree a lot, but we respect each other's expertise in what we know. And I feel like we learn a lot from each other.
I think that's key, and that's really important, right? Because nobody needs a duplicate of themselves. What we really want is a partner that can pick up the slack where we fall short, and vice versa. I mean, I don't know. My mom always told me to surround myself with the people that were experts in what I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, work with people only bigger than you, and you become a company of giants. I think it was.
So to that point, and how large is your company now? How many people?
We just brought on a third.
You're on a third. Congratulations. That's exciting. And what was it like to hire your first person?
He's actually another Philly friend.
Of course he is.
Mike grew up with, and he had experience that Mike and I both didn't have, and we realized he was a great first hire.
So guys, I'm just gonna ask you, I know that you're in a ton of stores. I know you can't probably remember all of them because you guys are going gangbusters. But you know, I'm a New Yorker. We got a lot of listeners that are from New York and Philadelphia. And I'd love for you to share some of the stores that people can find Blobs at.
Yeah, for sure. So in New York, we're in a few different notable stores. We're in Orchard Grocer. We're going to be in pop-up grocers soon. We're in the Goods Mart down in Soho, and Nick can speak to more the stores in Philly, I think. But those are the big ones I'd call out in New York.
Yeah, in Philly, in the Philly market, we're in a lot of fun stores. Cuzzy's Ice Cream, V Marcia Shop. We're in out here, Mangoes and More and Jocko's Tacos out in the suburbs, as well as Game on State, which is a little fun arcade. And then down the shore, you can also find us at Max's Produce in Philly. And then down the shore, we're all over Brigantine. I grew up spending my summer in Brigantine. So we're like at every single store. Just drive down there and check us out.
Can you have it like at the side where you get a Rita's Ice? You could get a little blob.
So we're actually in the arcade right next to Rita's Water Ice.
See, look at that. We'll make sure that we tag them, and this way people can go out and taste their blobs. I can't wait to. And I like the hat, by the way.
Thank you. I should have worn my shirt too.
You know, you got to wear everything. I have an essential ingredients t-shirt. I have a mug somewhere. In the meantime, I think everyone is excited to have a healthy candy that's readily available, better for you, better for me, and the better choice that we can make when we go to eat candy. Because it sounds like you're off to like a really great start, and it's only going to grow from here. And for those folks that are not in the Philadelphia or New York or down the shore area, how can they get their hands on the product?
Yeah, so right now you can buy it at eatblobs.com, blobs.com. I think we'll be hopefully getting into some more retail expansion soon, growing a little bit too. So keep an eye out in stores.
And keep us posted so that we can maybe do some sort of Insta Live so our listeners and viewers can, keep up to date on what you guys are doing and where you guys are growing.
Definitely.
Well, thanks so much for joining me today, and I really appreciate it. It's great to learn about blobs, and I can't wait to try them myself.
Awesome. Thanks, Justine.
Let us know your favorite flavor.
Pardon? I will let you know my favorite flavor. I'll do a little story for you.
And your favorite blob, your favorite shape.
Okay. I have a lot of homework to do. First, I got to get the blobs.
Thank you,
guys. Thanks for digging in. To learn more about these stories, you can access the show notes at nextgenpurpose.com/podcast. If you like what you just heard, head to Apple Podcasts or wherever you do your listening to hit subscribe and leave us a review. To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram at essential.ingredients and check out our weekly newsletter for your dose of food industry info. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel for videocasts of each episode and give this episode a like while you're there. You can also connect with me directly at justine.reichman on Instagram and The Real Justine Reichman on TikTok. See you next week.